I distinctly remember my first day as an intern with the Gene Snyder internship program. I was a sophomore at the University of Montevallo, and I showed up for a deliberative forum at the University of Alabama, where most of the interns were located. I was the first intern not at the University of Alabama.
Well, I can remember my interview for the internship. Okay. So they actually asked me, like, as far as community involvement, what I had done in the past and stuff, and I really previously wasn't all that involved with my community at all. I wasn't even really able to tell you like what my community was.
And I showed up for that forum, and I was just amazed at the type of conversation that was produced by a deliberative forum, that students with a wide variety of views and backgrounds and positions on the issue were able to really work through the issue and talk about major tensions and challenges without it devolving into a fist fight or people storming out of the room. They were able to really have a productive conversation. And I was just really impressed. This was a different type of talk, a different type of politics than I was used to, and I was excited to be a part of it.
I first heard about the Mathews Center while I was an undergrad. I was a student at Auburn, and so while I was there, I got really involved in the community and civic engagement initiative. So it was Mark Wilson who first told me about the Mathews Center. Since then, I've been a Gene Snyder intern. I did the Living Democracy program. I did a lot of Appalachian teaching project type things, and I decided that I wanted to kind of go into a career of community development and helping bring communities together.
I think for the most part, college students, once they get to college, still don't have that much experience with how to function in a community and how to be a citizen beyond just voting when elections come, if they even do that.
Growing up, especially in high school, I was very politically involved and engaged as a student. I was super interested in politics, and then by the time I got to college, I had become very disillusioned with politics. All that I saw was bickering and fighting and corruption and a desire to benefit oneself and not benefit the rest of the community.
The great divide in American politics shows no sign of closing or even quieting down.
Tonight, panic and chaos in Charlottesville. A car plowing through counter-protesters down this crowded street.
A huge new Pew Research Center study of 10,000 American adults finds us more divided than ever.
In a peaceful manner, you must disperse.
About 1/4 of Americans trust government to do the right thing.
We face a number of important issues around privacy, safety, and democracy, and you will rightfully have some hard questions for me to answer. Before I talk about the steps we're taking to address them, I want to talk about how we got here.
You can literally isolate yourself now in a bubble thanks to our technology on the internet, on cable television. You never, ever now have to see or hear anything that disagrees with your worldview.
We lead increasingly private lives. It's easy to entertain ourselves. We seek an escape from the constant onslaught of what's on the news and what's on the media. Talking to strangers is a wonderful way to just shed that for a minute and interact with each other as humans.
They're waiting for a group of students to come in and actually want to get to know them and actually want to be a part of what they're doing and make it better.
The communities are not experimented on. They are a leader in everything that goes on. They're one of the most essential components. So the communities are first and foremost. They take a tremendous amount of responsibility to work with faculty mentors and students on a near constant basis. They know what works and what doesn't work on the ground.
The opportunities that we're going to provide for you in Walker County are not about volunteerism. It's about being engaged in a community in a very comprehensive way, and a way in which you are first and foremost working on what communities identify as problems, not what you identify as a problem.
Like I said, I'm from New Orleans, and Tuskegee is a very small town, and it's completely different from my hometown. So I thought that I understood the problems automatically. I thought I could just look at the city, and I had been around a year and a couple of semesters, so I knew pretty much like how the city was, and I just thought I understood the problems. And then once we began doing our research, and I learned more and more, and I learned how in-depth the problems are and where they stem from, I realized I knew nothing about what was going on in Tuskegee. I had no idea how it got to be how it is today.
It's a lot more involved than I realized. In theory, I knew you needed other people and you needed the help of other people to get things done, but there's a lot of interconnectedness and ties to people that you don't even think of that you will one day need for something.
One of the things I tell them is that they need to kind of approach their experience much like an anthropologist will, because this is a different culture, and part of your job is to figure out the culture. Don't try to change the culture. You try to figure out the culture and figure out how you can fit into that culture.
I think it helps people learn how to listen to each other, which I think is pretty vital, because even if you think you're listening, a lot of times you're just waiting to talk.
Back when I was a senior at Auburn, we had to do a capstone project as part of the community and civic engagement minor. And I, fascinated with the work of the Mathews Center and of just deliberative democracy in general, I decided to create an issue guide around the issue of brain drain and convene a forum here in Roanoke at our public library. It was just so interesting because all of the people who had gathered in the room had never thought about this issue in the way that it was presented to them, and they never really formed thoughts around it other than saying it's not the way it used to be, everybody's leaving, but nobody really moved toward that, what can we do?
We do hear a lot of students want to grow up, graduate, and get out. And we see through the internship program a transformation in many of those students' minds, that they now see a purpose in them staying in Alabama or staying in their hometowns.
He asked us when we were graduating, and he was saying that you guys are here now and you're working here and you're doing something great, but you're graduating soon. And a lot of students have that. They come and they get an idea and they put it to work in the community, but they graduate and then they leave and they never come back. And the work that they've done kind of goes to waste. And that was his point. And it made me look at our project differently. It made me think about long term, what we could do and what this could expand and become in the future. And it made me actually consider maybe staying in Tuskegee or doing something that would help me prolong my time here, that I could complete a program or complete an idea, actually put something into work, and not only set the groundwork what we've been doing now, but see it all the way through.
This mode of civic engagement, these practices of deliberative, democratic public engagement really lit a fire in me. I saw a new way of doing things, a new way of collaborating, working together, working hard to find areas of common ground for taking action in our communities and across our state. I saw a way for me to engage with people who are different than me. I saw a way for me to learn from people who are different. And so I think this internship program really provides an opportunity for students to engage across difference in productive, meaningful ways. That don't ask a student to give up their own perspective or what they hold valuable, but ask them to listen actively to someone who's different than them and to find ways to work together in what does unite us.
What can happen when we give each other the benefit of the doubt and talk to each other with the intent to understand, not just to reply or to refute or condemn.
In our increasingly polarized political atmosphere in this country, this internship provides a unique opportunity for students to engage across difference, to have difficult conversations about challenging public issues, to really understand the assets and challenges of a community and of a complex public issue, and to work through those complexities, those tensions, the trade-offs within those issues.
Here, on the pulse of this new day, you may have the grace to look up and out and into your sister's eyes, and into your brother's face, your country, and say simply, very simply, with hope, good morning.